I just say something in response to Frank. There's a Labour councillor, Andrew Sprivet, who's on my Facebook, and he came on last week and went, Tony Benn's against independence, right? But I don't know if he knew that Tony Benn had passed away. Because a lot of Labour councillors lacks the reality that most of us have. But I said to him something quite simple. Tony Benn was a man who was marginalised and sidelined by the Labour Party through his whole political life. And quite simply, if Tony Benn had been running the Labour Party, we wouldn't be sitting here having debates about fairness and about equality and about opportunity for our people. The bottom line is, and we've all got to remember this, we didn't leave Labour. Labour left us.
Anyway, I'm noticing people doing what I'm doing, which is got a lot of t-shirts because it looks as though we're on a collective sonic. That would have voted the wrong way. So don't think when you go to ask questions, you may want to go and get a breath of fresh air, but please feel free to ask questions if you have any. All we'd ask is, did you see your first name, folks? Yes, your first name.
Hi, my name's Helen. Exactly, but I've not ever heard any party coming in and saying, even when they take over, that they're just going to have one wage, but you explained earlier on about them having a wee house and selling and all the rest of it. Hopefully, if it becomes independent, does the people decide that when you have a wage and you do it right, you don't get paid for it? Whenever you work for a living wage, and they're the same, politicians, even when it becomes independent, it'll need to be watched, and that's what I've got a quib about.
What's your first name? Ellen?
Helen?
Oh, sorry. Helen, that's a brilliant point, because the one thing that we are guaranteed when independent Scotland is we're going to have a written constitution. Now, a written constitution is important for many aspects. I want written in that constitution that our health service will never be sold off. I want written in that constitution that everyone's guaranteed the right to a home, a decent living, and a decent wage. I want it written in that constitution. All that's important. I'll tell you what else I want written in the constitution. I want political accountability written into that constitution. I want the right of recall written into the constitution. In other words, you don't have to wait 4 years if a prospective parliamentary candidate tells you 1 week they're going to vote to save a community centre, and then next week, once they're in power, they vote to close that community centre. You shouldn't have to wait 4 years to get rid of that. You should have the facility within 4 weeks to trigger through a ballot of signatures that you can collect online on the street, enough signatures to trigger a re-election. Every single politician should be subject of recall. It's now the reality. In about 10 states in America, different parts of Venezuela, all across Latin America, they've all written that into their constitutions now. I want that in our constitution. I also want political parties, by the way, to have a legal obligation to carry out after elections what it is they said they were going to do before the elections. I'm fed up getting toilet paper through the door called manifestos. When they forget about it after they're elected, we should be able to legally hold these people to account. That's why the Constitution was so good. As I've said before in relation to politicians, and they're a bit like nappies. They should be changed regularly and for the same reason.
About yes. So I asked my school if we could get some yes supporters and some no supporters to come in to speak to us all about it. And they said no, because apparently we're not allowed to talk about the referendum, we're not allowed to learn about it. But they get to show us videos where Better Together are telling us it's all about our future generation, even though we're not even allowed to learn about it. It's not fair.
You know, Kayla is she's so right, because lots of local authorities, but 32 local authorities in Scotland, and many of them have taken what I would consider a very Stalinist one-party state decision, which is to close down debate, not allow debate to take place. I personally think it's because they're worried, because I don't know about yourself, Damien, but I can't get anybody from the campaign to debate with us any longer. We've got a meeting in August in Cumbernauld that was scheduled for weeks. The local MP said he would debate with us, and then 270 seats get sold out within 2 nights, and he's pulled out now. He doesn't want to debate. And that's the problem, is when you debate with the No campaign, all they've got is fear and empty rhetoric. They don't have any passion, they don't have any vision, and they don't want the debate taking place. Some local authorities are allowing debates to be taking place, and the truth is, if you go online, you'll see it, the amount of schools that are having votes, and it's overwhelmingly the schools are voting for yes, because the young people see that their future is bound up with having a better and a new Scotland that's independent rather than part of the UK. So all I can say, Carol, is I agree with you, and I'm so frustrated with you, darling, that you're not able to have the debate, because it's a disgrace. You should be able to have the debate. But please keep going, because we need people like you in the future to help Scotland.
Hi, my name's Laura. I'm a student at Stirling. I'm studying politics and sociology, and all I've ever wanted to do was become like an MP or something like that. And I was proper like Labour. Like my mum was going to Clyde Bank. Everything was like properly like Labour. Then I went to a debate in Stirling Uni. It was yes, no, and I was on the fence. And then I suddenly turned to yes. It was just inevitable. And the thing is as well, I was studying sociology. You learn about the family. And they're sitting saying, oh, we're a family, we're better. And we're like, no, but you leave your mum and dad, you move out, you get stronger and you move on. And I would just like to, what happened? Right now, there's not very many females in politics, and I was just wondering if you get any advice for someone like me that wants to go into politics, basically.
My advice to you, Laura, would be the exact same advice as I would give to a young male as well. And that is to think long and hard about what it is you believe in rather than what somebody else believes in. A lot of people get involved in politics and maybe become very enthusiastic and think they're involved in a sprint, when in actual fact it's more like a marathon. And I think you have to pace yourself, read as much as you can, think about things, talk to other people, see once you're convinced, let yourself go and go for it. You know?
Like, you know, in Scotland, it's obviously the working class element, like, I'm from Oakridge.
Yeah.
And I was sitting speaking to my friend last night, we're sitting having a chat about things, and she's like, you won't become a politician. I was like, I don't know. She said, the working class has never been happy. And I'm just sitting like, hope for a better Scotland. You know,
Laura, I think what's going to happen after independence is Scotland is going to become in flux politically. It's going to be a new dawn. Because see all the old parties, they're not going to be up to the mark. That's the reality. The Labour Party, this is irony of ironies. The one party that's probably going to benefit most from independence is the Labour Party. It's a disgrace, but it's probably true. Because what they're going to have to do is reinvent themselves. They're going to have to go back to their roots, and they're going to have to start standing up for ordinary people again. That's what they used to do. That was what the Keir Hardleys wanted them to do when they founded the Labour Party. That's what the John McLeans wanted with ILP and everything else. So you've got a situation here where after independence, there's going to be a 2-year gap between independence and the elections. See, in that 2 years, you watch the amount of political ideas that are going to flourish, political ideas that are going to be put forward. And the beauty of the Scottish Parliament is we will have an alternative vote system, which means that small voices can still be heard, rather than just the big parties. The other voices will be heard as well. And see, the more they're heard, the more chance they've got of getting influence. You know, never ever be afraid of being a minority of land. Never be afraid of it, because sometimes minority of lands can become the majority as well. So please stick to your guns, Laura.
I think I'd like to add to that as well, that I can share the same and empathise with Laura there. You grow up thinking that Labour stands for a working man. The working man, that's what you're told. But very quickly, if you look into it, you see Joanne Lamont there in Edinburgh setting up a cuts commission. It's absolutely abhorrent. Then you look down south and you can't get a cigarette paper between the policies of the Tory party and the Labour party. So So I think what you've got to do is just look for yourself and see what best represents your views.
If I can just say something to you, like, I'm from Thrash Bush, right, and I've gigged in New York, San Francisco, Toronto, and I come home to Thrash Bush, and I grew up with people saying, oh, you'll never get a job with England Party. That was the first thing I grew up with. Oh, you'll never do this, you'll never do that. And Jim Sillars, one of my heroes, and Jim always says, have the audacity to put yourself forward. When you look at Tommy achieving the Parliament, the fact that people turned out to listen to him, there are very few opportunities, but the opportunities exist. But even in my wee world of comedy, there's a class thing in there. There's certain people have been thrust to the top, one person in particular, have been thrust to the top, and you either get frustrated or you say, no, I'm not having that. I believe in yes for me, I'm going to push myself forward. We need politicians like you. We need people who are passionate. I've got 2 teenage daughters and I want them to get, as Tommy said, all the things I got, plus much more. My generation didn't deliver. You can. Don't be frustrated by it. Keep working away. You might find it difficult to find a political party just now that fills your, meets your passions and your desires. But that will change. 18th of September, as Tommy said, we're going to open up about the blank pages, and there's no reason why you can't have your own wee chapter in it, honestly. Everybody in Scotland will start believing in ourselves.
Folks, is there any other final wee questions, or we'll just sum up?
My name is Hannah. I want to know who is going to be writing like this Bill of Rights or this. Who's going to have the influence? Is it going to be him taking into consideration human rights, illegal wars, invading countries? Will we come under the umbrella of, well, even though we're a separate country, we're part of the same island, so you better send some of your troops, with my troops, to bomb Gaza, shit like that, basically.
It's a brilliant question. It's a brilliant question to finish on. I'm just going to ask, is there any final wee questions? And if there's no, what we'll do is we'll sum up in that one.
Just quickly, Tom, the week see if we get independence, when we get independence, you spoke about the oil there. Is it automatically coming us? I know it's a big problem with privatisation. Alan.
And one there at the back here.
See, what happens with companies, even just the military, like we're talking about now, that will get a massive, like, a lot of Scottish people work for what is a British company, not British company, the British military, like the Blackwatch. Is that going to have to be disbanded? Or what happens with it?
Do you mean regiments in the army?
See the way we're giving up nuclear weapons, if we go for complete disarmament, is that impossible to have a country without an army?
What's your first name?
Stephen.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll give each of us just a wee bit to sum up, and then so we'll start the party.
I'm going to be very brief because I think Tommy's got more to say in some of the things than I want to. But the army and the shipyards are two of the things that annoy me most. When you get John Lamont lying about their commitment to the shipyards, year on, year on, year on, year on, we've lost all the skills from our shipyards. We went from 14,000, 15,000 people working in our shipyards to a couple of thousand. It's happened with armed forces. They come and recruit our boys to take them away to wars, they come back, injured, lost limbs, and they can't even get the proper hospital treatment to look after them when they come back. Yet they're cutting our armed forces. Nothing that the union are talking about protecting is being protected. They've cut shipbuilding jobs, they're cutting the armed forces. The white paper sets out what it wants to do about armed forces. But I'm like Tommy, for me, after September the 18th, it's an open book, and we campaign for the type of Scotland we want, the type of armed forces we want. I'm not bound by the SNP white paper, and neither is anyone in this room. But what a fantastic thing to look forward to, where we can wake up on the 19th of September and make our own choices instead of being dictated to by Westminster.
When it comes to the question in oil and gas, the answer is undoubtedly yes. I mean, what they say, the experts, it's 98.8%. Now, unless the British government, and it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to, unless they tried to rewrite the map and Dora. The line is right up and round. Then I suppose it's Scotland's, and definitely will be Scotland's. Talking about the Constitution, as many people as possible should be involved in writing it, not just the politicians, civil society, our churches, our teachers, our nurses. Everybody should have the chance to have some input into it. And how that would happen, I imagine, is that the elected representatives of our Scottish Parliament should take it back into their constituencies, discuss it and bring forward what our people want for our new and independent country.
Before I try and address the final three questions that we've got, I do want to just once again thank very much Conner for his efforts and It's clear to me, I don't know your community very well, but it's clear to me that you've still got a community, and that's something which I think we have to hold on to as much as you can and try and develop and try and harness and try and build. And I do passionately think that once Scotland becomes an independent country, we're going to become a better country as well, and that we are going to promote values about love and human solidarity over war and hate and division. Because at the end of the day, those types of things get pushed from the top. And if we can push from the top the types of things that matter to people, then eventually it will percolate through the whole rank and file of our country. If we get away from all of the horrible dog-eat-dog, rat race type of society that Thatcher brought in and is still with us just now, where there is no such thing as society, as she said, well, I think there is such a thing as society. I think society is caring of a willing elderly neighbour who's picked up her milk and a willing elderly neighbour's been seen in a couple of days. I think a caring society is worrying about whether the disabled lane can walk across the road unaided, worried about whether or not there's going to be proper schools, worried about whether or not kids from working class backgrounds are going to be able to get proper education. All of that means society, caring about people. And I think we naturally care about people. But see, when you're in the dirt and you're having to fight for everything you've got, then sometimes you're willing to step on other people because you've got so little yourself. I think once we free up our resources, folks, and we start to share our resources, then we can also allow other talents to flourish as well, and we can allow a lot of those inner feelings to flourish as well. I think it's important that we recognise that the Constitution that Heather's asked about, that Constitution can't be written by politicians, can't be written by judges, can't be written by the top of society. It's got to be written by ordinary people. It's got to be written by committees that include the pensioners and the lone parents and those that have been unemployed, those that have actually experienced poverty, rather than those that have read about it. We need a constitution which actually chimes with our lives. I had a great experience way back in 2004. I had the privilege to go and visit Venezuela at a time when they were going through a revolution and they were building a new constitution. And I couldn't believe it. Everybody had their own copy of the constitution. Everybody. And they were changing the constitution. They were voting in the changes. And these changes were about making sure that the oil of Venezuela never ever again was given to private hands, it always stayed in public hands and was used for the benefit of the people. See, if a country like Venezuela can be one community, so of course we've got to write a constitution that's from the rank and file, from the bottom up rather than from the top down. In relation to the point that Alan made, Damien's already answered that the oil is legally ours right now, legally ours. I do have to remind you that I'm quite fortunate. I'm doing a law degree now, and I've done the first year, and one of the subjects we did there was sovereignty, parliamentary sovereignty in the UK. And what this preaches is that there is no law higher than Parliament. So Parliament's higher than the judges, Parliament's higher than Europe, Parliament's higher than the human rights laws. If Parliament passes something, it's a law. Hey, that's what parliamentary sovereignty is about. The UKIP have said if they have their way and they get into a coalition with the Tories, they want to get rid of the Scottish Parliament. And by the way, they can't. The Westminster Parliament could vote to get rid of the Scottish Parliament. Our wee Parliament isn't. Our wee Parliament is just a wee carry-on Parliament. That's the truth of the matter. It's a wee parental guidance Parliament. We need permission for the adults before we can do anything serious. That's the reality. Obviously, we've done some things that are good. I fought for things myself. We've done some things that are good. We could get rid of warrant sales. Brilliant, that was great. But when I wanted to get air guns only allowed on sale if you had a licence to buy them, because I couldn't for the life of me know why we had people were able to go in and buy air guns and shoot wee kids. Why do you not have a licence? We get told, oh no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Why is it when we voted in the Scottish Parliament against the Iraq War, Westminster turned around and just ignored us? Because it was irrelevant. They sent our kids to die in an illegal war anyway. Independence is when you get a real Parliament. You can see that parliamentary sovereignty we're talking about. See, when it comes to people saying, how can you do this and how can you do that? How can we take the wealth of these companies and how can we make these companies pay a proper wage? You know what we did? We passed the law. We passed the law. We are the law. That's the reality of Scotland being independent. And see these companies that are bumping their gums and oh well, we don't know whether we can stay in Scotland. My arse. If they can sell their goods and products, they'll stay in Scotland. That's the reality. Don't let them take me. I'll tell you what, in an independent Scotland, when people have got better wages and people have got a higher standard of living, you watch the number of companies that want to come to Scotland because they'll see there's a market there. There's a market for goods and services because the higher the standard of living, the more chance they've got of actually selling their goods and services. So bear that in mind as well. The final wee point Stephen made up the back about the military. I'm not a big military man, Stephen, so put my hand on my lap for that. Quite honestly, I had a wee pal, wee Gordon, who was signing on and he got put on a catering course to become a cook. And he got bored with it awful quick and he was going down to sign on to ask them if they did anything else. And the army were there. And they promised him an HGV licence within 6 months if he signed up for 3 years. He signed up, he was 19 years of age, and he was sent to Iraq after his basic training. Unfortunately, Gordon was no reason at 19 years of age, Gordon Gerald was blown up in Iraq with an explosive device. Still means a lot to me because I'm friendly with his mother, Rose, grew up with her. I don't want kids needing to go to the army to get HGV licences, to get trades, to get skills. I want them to be able to go to shipyards and steel yards and engineering factories to get all of that. I'm not saying there will only be an army in Scotland. Obviously we'll have what we need. But see, the best armies in the world are the civilian armies. That's the best armies in the world, folks. The people who are actually going to fight for what they believe in, to defend something. I hope that people will accept that when it comes to Scottish military regiments, who are you going to trust to keep a Scottish military regiment open? A Scottish Parliament or Westminster? Come on, it doesn't take much to guide that up, does it? Folks, I hope that you would agree that we've had a good night tonight. I hope that you would agree that you've heard some arguments that have hopefully equipped you to feel confident enough to convince other people to become yes voters and yes campaigners, because we need an army now. We need an army of yes campaigners. I want to finish by referring to, I like my wee quotes, I want to finish by referring to a quote for a political inspiration of mine. John McLean, Conner and I have talked about this in the past. John McLean, most people in Scotland don't even know who John McLean is, and it makes me sad, it makes me cry that most people don't know who John McLean is. He's probably one of the greatest ever socialists on the planet, and he was produced here in Scotland, and he was a massive campaigner against the First World War, imprisoned 5 times in his life, and released 3 times because of popular pressure. This is a man who people should look up to and should learn about, and he stood for a Scottish Workers' Republic. That's what I stand for as well, a Scottish Workers' Republic. But the man I'm going to refer to in my finishing remarks, folks, is a guy called Malcolm X. Malcolm X was an American civil rights campaigner, a black politician, a black man who believed that it was worth risking his life to fight for rights for blacks in America. And Malcolm X once said, if you don't stand for something, you might just fall for anything. Folks, I think what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to stand for something. We're going to have to stand for a new, a better, a socially just, a more equal, a fairer Scotland. That's what the Yes vote is all about. Thanks very much.
Just like to make a few thank yous. I'd like to thank the Queen's Republic for the fans who gave up the practice tonight at this meeting. I'd like to thank Damien, and Tommy for speaking tonight. And to yourselves for turning up, because the amount of people that turned up tonight was not what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting a big crowd as this. I would like to say to anyone who's wanting to get involved in the Yes campaign, just speak to me at the end and I'll happily give you my email address and my phone number. I'd like to say that everybody has a part to play in this campaign. So we need to get out on the streets, on the social networking sites, to secure a Yes vote and bring about the freedom of our country. Thank you very much.